Hey everyone, I just want to come out here and talk a little bit more about Bud Light, as that is a never ending saga of what not to do in marketing and how businesses should not act. Bud Light, as everyone knows, is just, you know, killing itself, and actually Anheuser-Busch, the company, which is, always known as the king of beers, Budweiser. Their flagship brand, or their market, their bigger brand, actually, Bud Light, was, biggest selling beer in America. And now, according to an article I'm reading from Newsweek, Bud Light dethroned as top selling beer brand in US after boycott. So congratulations, Patriots. Your boycott is working. And there is no end of videos on YouTube and on Rumble discussing this matter, and everyone, I think, is enjoying seeing that a company that has, gone woke is going broke, and that's it's pleasing to see in one sense. While I hate to see a brand hurt, and I hate to see the people who work at this particular company being hurt, but the reality is this company could have stopped the bleeding. Even now, as things, obviously this boycott is not letting up. I noticed that there has been a lot of talk out there about whether it's too late to do anything. It's never too late to say sorry to your customers. It's never too late to come back and try and stop the bleeding here. I think it's sad to see that this company just will not. They cannot bring themselves to come out and admit that they have messed up big time. And the only response we've seen from them was a letter that came out about a week after this backlash occurred back in April. Some letter from the CEO of Anheuser-Busch, and really he didn't address it. It's like he danced all around it, bringing up, hey, we're a company that's 165 years old. We are founded in America's heartland. We have this many people, who work for us. This is the sort of thing that I think really ended up angering more people than helping the situation. And I really can't believe this person, who is, the CEO of a major American corporation. Actually, it's not an American corporation; it's a Belgian corporation. But he's, this company that was started in America. He can't even bring himself to see what the problem is. And I think the reality is Anheuser-Busch could still fix this now, even in spite of this letter that was absolutely ridiculous. It kind of struck me as he's going through all the people that work for them and all that. They made this huge mistake, but it's us, the consumers, who are at fault for being upset with them. And this is like, the crackhead on welfare who's losing their welfare saying, oh, well, but what about the children that I have? Yeah, they're not looking at themselves as being part of the problem. And again, I feel bad for all the people who work in this industry. I actually have family and friends who do work in the alcoholic beverage industry. Anyway, though, I wanted to, again, I'm seeing other people out there saying, oh, it's too late. It's too late. The damage is done. And I agree. The damage has been done, because I think they have legitimately lost customers. And I think in this case, some of your customers are gone. I mean, it's almost like muscle memory when you walk into a store and, instead of picking up a case of Bud Light, you're picking up that case of Yingling or something else like that. People have switched, and that's it. Personally, I was never a huge fan of Bud Light. I know my father is a huge Budweiser drinker, but I like some of the other products from Anheuser-Busch, and I won't drink them. I know in the summertime I used to enjoy the Bud Light Lime, but I definitely won't be having that anymore. And quite frankly, I don't know if I'd ever would at this point. But this company, as I said, I think it's never too late to apologize and try and stop the damage. And what they could do at this point, even now, is come out. First of all, they'd have to fire that executive that made this decision, and they would have to fire that executive that made the decision to go this route with the marketing with this influencer who really is. I mean, he's a guy that puts on woman face, really. And that's pretty insulting to women in general. But anyway, this whole thing, they could come out and issue an apology to their customers. They could say, "We are sorry. We seriously messed up. Um, you know, we effed up big time, really." Start off by saying that we have lost a lot of money through this, but that's not the harm. That's not what is wrong. It's the fact that we have offended our clients, offended our customers, and that is where we are sorry. They will have to also follow up with some sort of action. I say at this point, there needs to be some heads rolling. I think this woman, Alyssa Hireshire, or whatever her name is, that we've seen the video of her talking about how the customers of Bud Light, they're fratty and out of touch and all this stuff. I think, first of all, she's got to go. And as of now, they still have not fired her. As of right now, she's simply on leave. Um, so again, that tells you they're just trying to hide her until this blows over. And clearly it's not blowing over. So they need to fire her. They need to fire also the CEO of Anheuser-Busch. With what he did, I think his name is like Whitworth or something like that. He needs to go now too. This needs to come from the board of directors. He has to be fired because they're going to have to turn around and say, look, he mishandled this too. So that head's got to roll. We are making these changes, and we promise you that we will never get into politics again. We will stay with just simply making beer, and that's it. And leave it at that. Okay. If they want to offer some sort of discounts or, do something to try and win back customers, great. I think they need to just go out there and have a heartfelt apology and see what happens. Now, it's never too late to say, I'm sorry. Your maximum return on saying you're sorry, that particular window for that does shrink. And your benefit from saying you're sorry at this point, several months into this boycott versus when it first happened, yeah, they're not going to get the same bang for their buck if they had just done this. At the same time, they issued this stupid letter that wasn't even really an apology. It was actually more insulting than if they had done nothing at all. But I think they can go out there and they can apologize. And they're still not. That's what blows my mind. I can't imagine what investors are thinking of Anheuser-Busch as a company. The fact that they still they're like, no, we're not going to apologize because what? We're afraid of offending the LGBTQ community. Really? From what I hear, they're already annoyed with them too. And one thing with the LGBTQ community, who is it that goes and polls them and knows exactly what they want? I mean, who is this, spokesman for this group? From what I'm seeing, even on YouTube and some other things I've read, it seems that the LGBTQ community is kind of split on the whole tranny issue. I'm seeing videos where people in the category of gay lesbian are saying, "Hey, we're not in the same crowd," but that's another whole story, a separate story, and I'm not going to get into that today. But I mean, what did Budweiser think they were going to do with this tactic? I mean, did they not think that there was going to be some backlash? I know we're hearing all about ESG, and that's what's driving these companies to act foolishly. And I agree. I agree that they have been making decisions based on getting the best ESG score as opposed to what is in the best interest of their business and what is in the best interest of making money. I think this stuff with Budweiser and Bud Light, I believe that this was simply the straw that broke the camel's back with the public. And I think the subsequent issue that had come up, with Target proved that this wasn't just about Bud Light, that this is the public is sick of it. And I really believe that a lot of other companies are looking out there and noticing this. I see these other, that even now in June, so called Pride Month, where, we're not seeing a lot of the Pride stuff from the companies. We're not seeing those special rainbow logos. Yes, they're out there. I'm not saying they aren't, but it's been toned down, way down. And I think a lot of companies have rethought this. And, it's about time that they start caring about what the public wants. Right or no, again, this another side to this that I think is a positive is that this whole situation has has caused people to understand and look at this ESG. I see that the state of Florida is pushing back on these big investment companies that are forcing the ESG, such as BlackRock and State Street. So this might be a good thing in the end. This might be a bigger thing than just affecting Anheuser-Busch, because this seems to be sending a message across all industries, and it's making the public understand ESG. And I'm hoping that other companies start thinking about, wow, well, we can't go down this road. Whatever benefit we get from these investment companies, that certainly doesn't outweigh having customers. And I'm waiting to see actually what kind of fallout comes from all of this too in the coming months, because I think you're going to start seeing investors coming at these boards of directors. They have a fiduciary obligation to maximize profits, and they're not doing it the way when they're going after ESG scores. And I am very interested in see how things play out in the near future. The only person I've seen talking about potential lawsuits is Elon Musk. There was an article out that he, brought this up, and I agree with him. I've been, waiting for someone to come along and say that. I think there will be some fallout in that way, because it's like people have lost touch with doing business the right way, focusing on business. But anyway, well, that's all I wanted to bring to you today. I know it seems a little odd. I mean, you can go through and look around. There's lots and lots of talk about how bad Anheuser-Busch is doing. I think things will be very interesting when we come to the end of the second quarter, at the end of June, and we see what their profits really were for the second quarter, and we should see that sometime in early July. So, anyone has any thoughts on anything I said? Do you think it's too late to say I'm sorry, or do you agree that you can say you're sorry anytime? Your benefit from it varies depending on when you do it and how heartfelt it is. But what do you think? Leave me your thoughts, and thanks for listening. I hope you'll subscribe. Thank you.